地球僕たちの星 Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters, and your agent of animated awesome and Shaolin martial arts, master of all martial arts, if he may be, he said so ever so modestly. Today, we do have a movie it is an animated movie. It does feature a sword and spears and all kinds of things. Not really too many martial arts, but it's Japanese, and I'm going to count it. It is The Little Prince and the Eight-Headed Dragon, which is the story of the deity Susano and how he goes looking for his mother at a young age. It's based on the the Yamata, well, the Orochi Taiji, the dragon of Yamato, and how it's a legend of the birth of Japan, really. So there have been several movies and cartoons about it. This is the one that was released. Well, before we get too much further into it, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this movie. It's not the most common Japanese movie that was released over here, but it showed up on Turner Classic Movies of all things. That and I think the Magic Boy did as well. I don't remember off the top of my head. I haven't watched it for several years, probably close to a decade at least. So this was kind of new watching it. It's the animation's gorgeous, the movie's gorgeous. It's not the most exciting one until you get to the dragon, which is cool, and we'll get there. Having said all that, let's roll. The movie begins, fair enough, with the birth of Japan. It's very well. It was the Japanese origin of the movie is downplayed. It's the high god above sends down the god and goddess of called Izanami and Izanagi to create the islands of the world, which of course were Japan. See, there's Japan. Now these are pictures from the original English credits. The version I saw was, of course, from the Internet Archive, and there's like 4 or 5 versions, some with subtitles, some without, some in English dubbed. So take your pick. But there you go. We will have more credits at the end. So, like I said, it's a gorgeous movie. It just starts out all nice, and then there's Taro the tiger, and he's chasing this bunny, who is Akahana. Now, I don't know who the English dubbed actors were. It was supervised by William Ross, who's well known to anyone who's listened to anything from Japan and Hong Kong from the 60s and 70s into the 80s. So it's not as good as a Titra or Titra or Titan dub, but it's good. It was good enough for Columbia to release it a year later in 1964. This was released March 24th, 1963. It runs 86 minutes. Columbia didn't change it too much at all except for the dubbing, and it was released January 1st, 1964. So it it's released under several other names, and like I said, they downplayed completely the Japanese origins. But let's see, Prince in Wonderland and the Rainbow Bridge, I guess so. But it is the Shinto myth of the storm god Susano versus the Yamata no Orochi, the dragon of Yamata, I guess. The most recent one, well, the one I saw recently was, the one from the 90s, I think, which was pretty, but really, really dull. Anyway, these are all the animals. There's our little prince. There's Susano teaching Taro a lesson. And there's his mom. Now they're then they go into some sumo wrestling, and but then suddenly Taro's mom is gone. There's his father. Uh, um, let's see, where's his name again? Izanagi, who tells him that he can't. Taro pitches a royal fit. You can tell he's a prince because he's got a crown on, and decides to go look at her. And everyone's sad. The tiger and the rabbit make friends. She comes to him and says, "You can't come with me. You can't find me." But he's decided he. She gives him an amulet for protection, not an omelet or an omelet, and off she goes. So he decides to build a boat with his father's blessing, and off he goes to look for her. The rabbit ends up going with him for some reason because you need to have some comedy relief, and they get it. They get to the land. Oh, they cross the sea and have a giant fish, have a battle with it, and he just spears it and it disintegrates. The Wizard of the Sea shows up and says, "There, I'll take you down to the Crystal Palace, which is where Susano's older brother lives." And off they go. A cute bit with an octopus with mouth and eyes like a human, but you know me and octopi. So there's the Crystal Palace. The guards are asleep. Now, apparently, Gendy Tartarovsky, am I saying that right? Where'd it go? Tarta Tartakovsky. I don't know how to say it. Sorry, Gendy, if you see this, I'm sorry. But it definitely has a flavor of Samurai Jack. And we will get to Samurai Jack and Primal. We might get to Primal first because it's only 2 seasons and it's got a dinosaur in it. And I just got both of them. But there's his brother, the Crystal Prince. There's the misunderstanding. Taro again is a little hothead and has a fit and destroys half the Crystal Palace, but he gets sent away along with this crystal to help him on his way. Now he meets his new buddy, which is Taitambo, called something else too in the dub, and I don't remember. And they fight a fire demon. And finally, they keep slicing him in half, and more show up. And the bunny there accidentally puts out the fire demon with the crystal, and they use it. Crystal snow sword, ice sword, and they win. Freezes him, and Titan Bow decides he wants to go with him, so his people, the Fire Valley, and to find them a better home. Again, this is a beautiful. The fire demon or fire sends him a bird, which is very much like a phoenix. And there's Titan Bow's people who are giving him the signal, and off they go. They're going to his sister, the goddess of heaven, and they land, and of course there she is. And he's like, "Yeah, they can, come stay with us, work here with the fire people. They're going to build them a dam," but lots of misunderstandings. Susano is not the brightest of all children, causes flooding, causes this horse to destroy a lot of things, and they finally kick him out. They're like, "All right, you're done." And of course, Susano has another fit. But she says, "All right." She leaves. She's like, "I'm out." So they have a big party. She says, "Okay, you got to go, but here, take this with you, and you can use it." And off they go. Now they get to another place. He's still looking for his mom, and he meets this young lady uh, who is Kushinada Hime, Princess Kushinada. And the first thing he says, "You remind me of my mom," which I don't think you should ever say to a woman. But, oh, look, there's a frog. There's one for Agent Frog right there. So that was the only frog in the show. But Rabbit falls into the water because he's a dope. And now the water's turned red, which means the dragon's going to show up. And she's all, "No, because he eats maidens," like all dragons do. So Taro, that is not Taro. He is the dragon boy. We'll get to him too. But Susano says, "We'll fight him." So he finds a flying horse. Now, this scene, while I'm sure that Ray Harryhausen didn't see it, but it has some interesting parallels to the scene in 1981's Clash of the Titans. Eventually, we'll get there. I promise. It's actually old Brick DePayne's birthday on Monday, but he's going to have to be satisfied with 4 episodes of Avengers United They Stand so I can get that one done. But off they go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So and she gets to ride the horse. The horse is very nice, doesn't try to buck him off the way Pegasus did with Perseus. Yes, I've seen the movie way too many times and listened to way too much commentary. But off they go. They're happy. Now they decide they're going to get the dragons drunk. And, someone that possibly has dragon blood in him, this will work. And Rabbit drinks a lot of wine, so he's drunk now. And we're ready. Everyone's going to fight, but Rabbit's scared, and so everyone's scared. So here's the start. Now, I didn't mention the music is done by Akira Ifukube. He did some other music for the Majin movies and for this, for Toei, for Daiei. So he did do other music. Now, it's all very familiar. It's different enough. This is a fantastic soundtrack. And this last fight scene it's really good. So there it is in shadow. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 heads. And apparently these heads can stretch out all over creation because it's a dragon and it's magic, right? Am I right? But they all have slightly different colors, slightly different features. I don't know how they kept them apart, but I'm not an animator. So, but Ifukube's music's great. But immediately who it is. I'd put in some of the credits or some of it, but I'm afraid of just copyright because Toei or Toho. So there's the first one. Now we get to see it. It's got each one of them also has a different blast from its mouth. This one here is the main head, as far as we know, but off they go. But they all drink the wine, so I guess it helps them. And then the fight commences. So they get tied into knots. There's ice. You stab one. The rabbit does the countdown, so we know how many are done. See, they got him in, but it doesn't matter. Another one. There's 2. They have a big old spear, and rabbit gets stuck, and then almost gets eaten. Falls down and lands on Taitembo, who bounces off of him. And its head, there you go. It goes after Princess Kushinada, why she's there is beyond me, but, it's got to be some drama. And the battle is on. They zap each other. They bite each other. Chops off a head. It's all very well edited and exciting. I hope you can watch it. If you see it, make sure you get the widescreen because it's very confusing if you see it in a full screen presentation. Finally, the gift that his sister gave him comes to play. See, it's a magic blade, a Vorpal blade, if you will. Kills the last head, bleeds out into the water, probably poisoning it. But there it is. She's all happy. But is he dead? No, he's alive. And there's the little mouse father. Everything converts. His mother comes back and says, stay. And he's like, you can't be with me until, the time comes. Because she's in heaven, essentially. So Susano says, all right, let's build here. We'll get the fire people. We'll have a happy ending. He blows his horn. There's the rainbow that apparently somebody thought would be perfect to name it after. And that's it. That is the end of the movie. The end. So here's your credits, the English credits. Screenplay, see Akira Ifukube. Directed by Hugo Sarakawa. English version by United Service, William Ross. And there, Columbia just slapped their logo on at the end. That's the movie. So tomorrow we're going to see the atomic submarine. And spoiler alert, there's a monster in it. And having said all that, my fellow agents, until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off and phasing out.
This is the exciting story of the future, when America's fleet of atomic submarines begins a desperate search for an unknown enemy whose destruction of polar shipping has the nation's back against the wall. See the mysterious blasting of an atomic sub by this dreadful unseen adversary. USS Tiger Shark, our last hope. See it fire an intercontinental ballistics missile from under the ice at the North Pole.